Shalom, Yasharallah. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here topic, dealing with Esau and, how he is mainly the main one that wants to prolong his Second Amendment rights, dealing with bearing arms and things like that. Right now you have this situation going on in, or it's about to take place in Virginia, I believe. All right, January 20th, where they're trying to basically take these weapons away from Esau, right? But nevertheless, some people will look at it as, in one sense, just like a lot of these other countries that you see going on where these governments are killing the people or whatever, whatnot, so-called, it's Esau, they're doing things like that. But nevertheless, in a lot of these countries, right, you don't really have, it's not legal to have guns, all right? So, a lot of these different countries, a lot of people already live like that. But nevertheless, and then one thing that stops these things from happening, like your government coming down on you, is the fact that you can protect yourself, all right? Because, contrary to the mindsets of a lot of people here in America, they believe that, oh, we don't need guns, we can just call the police and the police will help us. Well, what happens when the police is your enemy and everybody else is your enemy, or 911 don't work? You have to be able to protect your own self, and that's where a lot of, that's one end of the spectrum of it, you know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, now we don't promote violence or having no physical weapons or nothing like that, because obviously, like the scriptures say, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, all right? We have spiritual weapons, all right? But nevertheless, dealing with this here situation, like I said, some people will look at it in that sense. Well, we need our guns to protect ourselves from a, tyranny from a government, and I believe that's how it's actually written in the Constitution or whatever. But nevertheless, when you actually see these damn Edomites bugging out over this, it's a whole lot deeper than that, It's a whole lot deeper than the fact of the matter. They just want to protect their Second Amendment rights, and they're scared of government tyranny and so on and so forth, which, like I said, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Like, all right, well, shit, you got to have something to protect yourself. You can't always depend on the damn devil to protect you, even though he the one coming down on you, But nevertheless, like I said, it's a lot deeper. It's a little more spiritual than that, But nevertheless, you've heard the term, I got my God-given right to bear arms. You can have my gun if you pry from my cold, dead hands or whatever, whatnot, And this is something that Esau always is talking about and always is saying or whatever, whatnot, But nevertheless, this was something that I was thinking about and just pondering on. It's like, damn, Esau is really going hard over them taking away his guns. And I'm like, they talk about martial law and so on and so forth. Us in the truth, we they know about martial law and everything like that as well. But, we in the truth, we know a little bit more deeper than that, dealing with like the King Alfred plan, what is it, Rex 84, Project Megiddo, basically all three of these different things. You can look it up, the King Alfred plan and King Alfred plan was basically, they wrote it in the law basically around the so-called Negroes up and basically put their ass in they'd say nowadays FEMA camps, internment camps or whatever, whatnot, and just basically put their ass to death, Then Rex 84 was basically to add on to the King Alfred plan, which they added basically to the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans to it, all right? Project Megiddo, all right, basically, I believe goes in and names, they call us the Black Hebrew Israelites as, a threat or whatever, whatnot, But nevertheless, these are all laws that are put on the books to basically come down upon Jake, Like I said, these, a lot of these Edomites, they're not really privy to that end of the spectrum. They just think that, oh, their government coming down on them, whatever, whatnot. In which we know the damn devil don't really discriminate. He'll whack his own people just to get your ass. But nevertheless, when you look a little bit more spiritual at this here situation, all right, this is Esau's birthright. All right, this is how he was going to wind up living. We're going to read it through the scriptures, but just wanted to say this part. This is how he was going to wind up being able to live, man. All right, so matter of fact, let me just go ahead and read this. This is Genesis 20, chapter 27. I'm starting at verse 38. Now just to give a little backdrop to what's going on. This is the time where Isaac is pretty much on his deathbed, and he's about to bless his two sons, give them their inheritance, right? Now, some people will say that Jacob tricked Isaac, and Rebecca was in on it, whatever, whatnot. But you got to go back to Genesis 25, where before the children was even born, it was prophesied that the elder shall serve the younger. All right, so basically it's just the Most High will is being played out. It's just the confusion is how it was going to be enacted. But nevertheless, we're going to start reading here actually at verse 39. I'll start at verse 38. Genesis 27 to 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. All right. Because see, like I just said, Isaac was on his deathbed, and Rebecca dressed Jacob up and sent him in there with the venison or whatnot, while Esau was out in the field hunting for venison to bring back to his father. All right, Jacob was sent inside of there, and he wound up getting a blessing, right? So, which again, that was all set up and ordained by the Most High. Prophecy is just taking place, right? Now Esau coming in there, all right. Now he's in here crying for, hey, matter of fact, in verse 38, like I believe, what is that, Hebrews 12, and I want to say like starting in verse 16, talking about there was no place of repentance found for Esau, though he sought it carefully with tears. This is, hey, him over here crying about this situation right now, man. All right, verse 39, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. So, we can go up and read a little bit further up where where Isaac is actually blessing Jacob. All right, now both boys basically got the same blessing. All right, they both was going to have rulership and dominion over the earth. All right, but Esau's rulership would be a temporary rulership, and Jacob's rulership would be basically a forever rulership, a permanent rulership. All right, and that's pretty much, that's what we waiting on, the kingdom of heaven. All right, like Second Ezra say, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. All right. So Esau is in his time frame right now where he's ruling the earth. All right. So going to verse 40. All right. So now Esau, we could also read this in the book of Job, chapter 9 and verse 24, where it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. Now the wicked is Esau. I believe that is what Malachi chapter. Let me grab that real quick. Malachi 1 and 4. Yeah, this is Malachi 1 and 4. It says, whereas Edom says, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people of whom Yahweh have indignation forever. So, real quick, I just quoted this. Let me go there too. So, we know that the border of wickedness is the Edomites, all right? Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, all right? He covered the face of the judges thereof, if not wherein, who is he? All right, so dealing with Esau, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, right? So as we go back to Genesis 27, all right, verse 38 or verse 39, it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven up from above. So again, like I was just saying, Esau has a temporary rulership, all right? Now, the earth was given into his hand, but it wasn't just like, one day, one of these Edomites woke up, or fuck it, we know where it started. It happened, shit, you can start out, what is that? Maccabees 1 and 1, all right? Or it says, and it happened, all right? And that's what it's talking about when it says, and it happened. That was when the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, all right? Now, as you follow off reading that, it says, and it happened when Alexander, the son of Philip the Macedonian, all right? Basically, that's the whole situation right there, Philip the Macedonian, right? With the father of who you call Alexander the Greek or the Great, he wound up wanting to go to war, but he wound up dying off, and his son Alexander, all right, we call him Alexander the Great, he wound up going forth and conquering, all right? Now, he wound up subduing, how you would say the known earth at that point in time, the vast majority of that side of the planet over there, all right? But nevertheless, in a short amount of time, he wound up dying, all right? Then after that, I believe he only wound up living like 12 years since he went on his little rampage, his little raid, But nevertheless, from there, his four of his well, really it was five, then it turned to four of them. His top generals, the kingdom was divided up into them. All right, that's where it says, they put crowns on their heads. First of all, it says that they divided his kingdom while he was still yet alive, dealing with Alexander. All right, he split up the rulership into at that point it was five, but then it went down to the four. And it says that they put crowns on their heads and then on their children's heads after them. All right, and it also said that wickedness was multiplied on the earth. All right, so this is basically where it's going into about. Basically, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, all right, and like I just quoted, where it says, and it happened. So this is the beginning half of Esau taking over. Now, first of all, going back to Alexander the Greek, all right, at the beginning of all this, how did he wind up conquering every damn thing, man? All right, how and just from him to his four generals afterwards, and then so on and so forth, all the way down to where we at today. All right, like I said, or I was about to start saying, it wasn't that Alexander the Greek woke up one morning, you know what I'm saying, and the Most High came to him or whatever, whatnot, and said, all right, and this day the earth is given into your hand. And some crown fell out of the sky, and the whole, no earth over there all witnessed this, and the crown fell on his head, and everybody just bowed down unto him, and that was it. He didn't go and make peace treaties and trade deals or none of these types of things. He didn't marry into certain families or whatever, whatnot, until he wound up being up on top. No, none of these things wound up happening, all right? I'm going to read verse 40, Genesis 27:40. It says, well, let me go back to 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and from the dew of heaven from above. So Esau started coming up out the woodwork at this here point in time, all right? Now, we also know that there was a little fall, during the Roman Empire. Jake wound up coming up and reigning for a while, all right? But then, ultimately Esau came back, all right, in the Renaissance era and wound up subduing, finishing his subjugation of the planet Earth, all right? This is verse 40, Genesis 27:40. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. All right. And now the point I wanted to grab here is at the top of this. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. All right. So basically, dealing with this here situation, again, how did he wind up taking possession of every damn thing? How did he subdue everything, get everything in his possession? It was wound up taking it all by the force of the sword, man. All right, so it was basically by the force of the sword, or modern days today, by the force of his military arm, But nevertheless, this is how Esau wound up subjugating and subduing the earth, man, putting everybody in the subjection up under him. All right, by the force of the sword. All right, at the edge of their sword. All right, let me read this one more time, just the top part. It says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. All right, so not only was he going to take over the earth by way of the sword, all right, he was also going to wind up staying in power by the way of the sword. All right. That's as you see it today. Not really today, because as we see now, the tables are starting to turn. All right. Esau's actually falling out of power right now at this point in time. But really, ultimately, Esau still is the top military, and I say that, saying the fact that Esau's fallen out of his rulership because, speaking of the Edomites here in America, all right, versus Russia, Russia is actually surpassing America when it comes to military might and so on and so forth. But nevertheless, end all be all, they all Edomites. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, it says, and then also shit in Isaiah 14, where it says, art thou become as weak as us? Art thou become like unto us, as weak as we? Basically because these other nations, are getting these weapons sold to them, and now they're on almost a even playing field with America's weaponry, But at the end all be all, they're getting these weapons from another Edomite, which are the Russians, Now I wanted to grab, let me just read this one more time. Genesis 27:40, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Something else that came to mind. Okay, let me grab this real quick before I go to my next precept. Habakkuk 2:5. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. So he's not gonna stay in this still speaking about Esau. He's still not gonna stay in his own inhabited place, like inside his own borders, man. Most High gave everybody a land and a possession to have their own possession with, But Esau never gonna stay at home, man. His ass got to be in everybody else's country trying to meddle with their situation. Think of it today, man. Right now, this very day, man. Esau's not gonna keep his red ass here in America and dealing with America and their business. You got civil war uprisings. You got a dividing the nation over this Donald Trump situation, financial woes. You got illnesses, depression, gun violence. You got all kind of crazy shit going on here in America right now. But instead of trying to fix that, and all the same problems that you go over to these other countries with, you got all the same problems here, man. I remember they was, the beginning of like this time last year, all right, they was talking about going in, they was still talking about going into Venezuela, because Nicolas Maduro is starving out his people. It's a corrupt government. They're not paying down to their people, whatever, whatnot. But at the same time, these goddamn hypocrites over here had to shut down the damn government spending. All right, I forgot what it was that Donald Trump was basically holding people hostage over. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying, with the government spending, not just the shit that they buy, like military things and so on and so forth. You have what they call governmental assistance programs, with the food stamps and public housing and so on and so forth. The main thing was the food stamps. A lot of people was worried about not being able to get their food stamps because the government was shut down and there was no financial money being set aside for the government. All right. So, hey, these hypocrites, the same shit that they talking about, Maduro starving his people out. Really, the fact of the matter is he can't really pay down when you got sanctions on them and y'all over there holding his money hostage is coming from the oil that they use to pay off their people with, because that's their number one resource that they have over there. One of the number one resources they have over there. Forgot what the other one was. It might be lithium, or they got another major resource over in Venezuela though. But nevertheless, they got the state-run oil, and then that is coming back into the government. The government then, kick down, kickbacks, just like here in America, man, with Section 8 food stamps and so on and so forth, But nevertheless, it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home. Like I said, man, he's the biggest hypocrite, man. And all these other nations and talking about this is going on over here, that's going on over there, so on and so forth. And all the same thing that you're talking about over there, the Iran situation. Oh, these people, these are oppressive regimes or whatever, whatnot. But hey, what you got going on over here, man? Don't you, they support, talking about these other nations. Oh, they're the number one state sponsor of terrorists. Like, well, wait a minute. America's the number one state sponsor of terrorism. Look at the fucking police departments here, man. They killing up more civilians than any goddamn body, man. Then look at the so-called the international police, the military, right? The American military is going around just devouring all these. Well, we're gonna read it here, but nevertheless, it's devouring all these other nations, man. That's straight terrorism, man. You know what I'm saying? And they ain't even really how they say proclaiming an act of war. They just, oh well, we got this skirmish, that skirmish is some terrorists over there, so we got to blow up your whole country to get rid of 2 terrorists that y'all put over there. But nevertheless, it says, yea, because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. All right. Let me read verse 6. Shall not all these take up a proverb against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increases with that which is not his, how long to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. So he's trying to increase that which is not his, and he's heaping all these people unto him to reign and rule over them. But how is he also doing this? By way of the sword, man. Or if not, he's doing it by, like I said, he transgresses by wine, these philosophies, these doctrines. But yet and still, if you don't take these doctrines or these philosophies or these, certain contracts that they got, they still come over there and either topple your regime, or they'll wind up just, how do I say, corrupting your country, man. They have plenty of ways of doing that, man. They go in there with the propaganda, fuck up your economy, all kind of different things, to where the people think that it's the government and they just want to get rid of the government because they think that it's the government's fault that their life is being shitty, when in reality it's the sanctions. Like, for instance, in Cuba, if you was dumb as hell and you living in Cuba and you looking around, you want to be smart, dumb niggas looking around like, damn, man, why are we frozen in time in the 50s? Why is everything so fucking old over here? Why everything all run down and shit, man? Well, and then you start blaming your government, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's the government's fault that, we stuck in the 50s and shit here. We ain't had a new car since the 50s and shit over here, man. It's the government's fault. Well, no, it's not your government fault that shit's happening, man. It's the American government's fault. They the ones got the sanctions on your country so that can't nobody trade with your ass, man. You see what I'm saying? They the ones that just starved y'all out, man. But yet and still, this is what these Edomites do. And they'll go, like I said, man, if they don't go in with the guns blazing with the actual sword out, all right, they got their damn deceitful ass tongue that's still coming through, slicing and dicing through their propaganda. All right, their philosophies, their doctrines, and so on and so forth, like we just read. Yea, it says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine. All right. It says, verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty for them. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, and of the city, and of them that dwell therein. Woe to him that covet an evil covetousness to his house, that he may deliver his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and have sinned against thy soul. So going back into verse 8, really from 5 on down, but mainly dealing with 8 on down, it's basically talking about, again, how Esau's rolling up into these other nations, these other countries, and stealing their damn resources and reigning over all these damn people via what? By way of the sword. That's how Esau was going to live. That's how he was going to progress in this here life, man. That's how he was going to advance in this here life, man. And when we say, oh, he going to live by the sword, there's a lot of people, put it this way, how you make your living? You know what I'm saying? Some people make their living by scrubbing toilets. Some people make their living by driving school buses. Some people make their living by hitting baseballs. Some people make their living by singing. Some people make their living by telling jokes as a comedian. You know what I'm saying? Some people make their living by working at Walmart. You know what I'm saying? This is how they be able to progress in life. This is how they go from, being living in their mama house to getting a roommate, to going from a roommate to getting their own apartment, from their own apartment to one day buying a house, you know what I'm saying, and accumulating all these different things in life, you know. They go from really having nothing to having all these different things by way of what? By working, you know. They have, you know, they find some kind of way to get some kind of income, all right? This is how, you know, me, you, him, and her, we all, you know, get the things that we get. This is how we wind up making a living, all right? But how did Esau make a living as a whole on a grander scale? Yeah, you can say, oh, well, he get up and go to work too. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how we know spiritually that the earth was given into his possession, but how did he wind up claiming his prize? You see what I'm saying? It's like, well, this is yours. You know, like sometimes they say, okay, you didn't hit the lotto, right? Now, I believe here in Florida, if you hit the lotto, I think you got to go to Tallahassee, and I think that might be like that in every state. Like you have to go to the state capital if you win a lottery or some shit, right? I don't really play the lottery, but I think that you have to go to the state capital to cash in your lottery ticket, right? Now, just say for instance, because again, I don't really play the lottery. I don't know about this. I ain't never won the lottery or nothing like that. But nevertheless, and we're not talking about no scratch off tickets. Maybe if you win a big ass scratch off ticket, but nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna just say for the sake of argument, right? For an example, right? That they tell you, oh, you hit the lottery or whatever, whatnot. You got 3 different ways to, or fuck it, paying your cell phone bill, right? You know what I mean? You got multiple different ways to pay your cell phone bill. You can either get the app, pay your phone bill through the app. You can call this here number, whatever, whatnot, this star, whatever number, 611 or some shit like that, and it'll give you this online menu. Or you can go inside a store, all right, and make your payment. So which way are you going to be making your payment? How are you going to get the payment needs to be made, all right? The only question is what path you're going to take to wind up making that payment. So the same thing is like this. If I was going to tell you the future, all right, and say, look, your phone bill is due today, and we know you're going to make your payment tomorrow. The only question is what path you're going to take to make that their payment, right? Same way with Esau, all right? It was written, it was prophesied that, hey, the earth was going to be given into his hand, all right? And it's also prophesied how he was going to wind up getting the earth. But nevertheless, you know, you ask the question, like, all right, well, how is he going to wind up getting the earth? Is it going to be by treaties, trade, what do they call that? Uh, I don't know, for lack of a better word, is being diplomatic, all right? You know, is he going to negotiate with people, marry into certain families or whatever, whatnot? No, the way that Esau was going to wind up subjecting the whole world and putting everybody up under him and taking all their resources and taking all their lands. All right, let me read this in verse 8 again. Because thou hast spoiled many nations. All right, so how do you wind up spoiling these different nations? Let me even go into the word spoil. All right, this is the word for spoil. It says sha'al. All right, sha'al. It says to draw out, to spoil, to plunder, to take spoil, to plunder, to be spoiled, to be plundered. Says in a Strong's definition, to drop, to strip, by implication, to plunder, let fall, make self a prey of purpose, make a or take a spoil. All right, so basically, this is you just how do they say you know, like um you know, another word for it is booty. You know, pirates and stuff like that. You know, you understand it from those terminologies. But if you finna go hit a lick, right? What's the damn lick? All right, we finna go over here and rob this here store. Well, what the fuck are we gonna wind up getting? All right, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna get X, Y, and Z. This is spoil. So Esau then spoiled all these different nations. Let me go back. Verse 8, Habakkuk 2 and 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all right, you went over and took all their booty or whatever possessions it was, you know, their resources. All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein. So how did these men blood wind up being spilt? All right, it tells you right there, for by, you know, the violence of the land. All right, so Esau violently took away these resources, these lands, being violently and spilling people's blood via the sword. This is how he was going to wind up living. All right, it says verse 9, woe to him that covet the evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people and hast sinned against thy soul. So how did Esau wind up cutting these other people off? Did he just ignore them all? No, he wound up basically using a sword against their ass, man. All right, by either the threat of military might coming down on you, or physically just bringing that military might down on you, man. You know, especially what is that, World War II, where America got thrown into the superpower status after dropping those atomic bombs, man. All right, because basically, you know, you had really in World War I, America wasn't really a superpower. America wasn't a superpower, you know, and really America wasn't really a superpower in World War II. They wanted to be dropping those bombs to end all be all. And you go into the history of that. America got into that war kind of late. But nevertheless, by the threat of that sword and that military might, man. This is and also coming down on these other nations or whatever, whatnot, put fear into these people's hearts, because they say, oh shit, he didn't just bomb the shit out of Vietnam or wherever. Esau just bombed the shit out of these places, the Middle East and so on and so forth. We don't want that shit to happen. We pull up out of this IMF treaty, then Esau gonna come down with that damn sword. Look here. Let me go from there to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4. Now, let me go back to Genesis 27, verse 39. It says, verse 40, Genesis 27 and 40, just reading the top part, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. All right. So now, and a little deeper than this, if you want to know, about, if you understand reincarnation, all right, Isaac basically is like the forecarnation of Yahushua, all right? This is, basically Yahushua before he came as Yahushua, right? So Yahushua is the one who actually gave Esau this here blessing, all right? The sword, the sword, he's the one that gave him the sword, going back into the title, I don't know how I'll title it, but your God-given right to bear arms, all right? Now, again, like I said, man, Esau, I don't know if he consciously noticed or spiritually, it's just in his spirit, he just knows, like, nah, man, y'all take away my sword, surely I'm gonna die out here. I don't got no strength, no power. This is it, man. So here in Genesis 27, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. Right. So now let's jump over to Revelation 6 and 4. All right. It says, Revelation 6 and 4, and there went out another horse that was red. All right. And you can go back, this is akin to Esau. All right. Being red, and power was given unto him. Like we just read not just read, but earlier we read Job 9 and 24. The earth was given into his hand. All right. It says, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. All right. And then we just also read, he's like death and like hell cannot be satisfied, and he just basically go through and violently oppressed all these people and taking all their resources in their lands. All right. It says, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right. Now we just read in Genesis 27, all right, about how Isaac blessed Esau and told him that he was going to live by the sword. All right. Meaning that was going to be his special weapon or his specialty or whatever, whatnot, In order for him to advance and to move forward, that's the way, that was the path he was going to want to take it. All right. Again, like I made the analogy earlier, how you going to pay your cell phone bill? You got 3 different ways. Which path you going to take to pay your cell phone bill? All right. If you choose, all right, well, you're going to start making your payments via the app or, a direct withdrawal from your account. You sign up for that. Then, automatic bill pay or whatever, whatnot. All right, that's the path you're going to wind up taking. You're going to wind up in our relationship with, me and, or let's just say I'm AT&T and you, the customer, with our contract that we got, whatever, whatnot, you sign up to make your payments via automatic withdrawal. That's the way you choose to live your life, right? Esau was going to live his life, all right? He was going to be wound up making his payment. He chose the route to make his payment through the sword, all right? I'm giving an analogy here. But nevertheless, like we read in here again, it says, and there was given unto him a great sword. We just read in Genesis 27 how he was going to live by that sword, all right? And also here, it also said that it was going to take peace from the earth, all right? This is verse 6, or no, verse 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him, and power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, with hunger, with death, and with the beasts of the earth. All right, and the point here I wanted to grab was that, there's power given unto him to kill with the sword. All right. Again, this is how Esau is going to wind up, making his moves on this here earth to be able to live. Esau was going to wind up living by his damn sword. So again, going into Esau and his Second Amendment right, man. In all actuality, hey, man, Esau do got a God-given right to bear arms, man. All right. But then also at the same time, all right, he's coming up out of his kingdom. All right. This is the time where his, you know what? Let me grab that. Revelation 12 and 12. Revelation 12 and 12, it says, therefore, rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. And for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time. All right. And, this is was kind of stirring up in a lot of these Edomites' minds, man. Now we also know on a higher level with the government, the elites, and so on and so forth. We understand about that, and they want to get this new world order in and trying to upset prophecy and get everybody microchip before the Lord come back. Because like Scripture say, if basically for the elect's sake, the Lord gonna come back on time. At least again, like I said, or the Scripture say, least time be shortened, no flesh will be saved. But for the elect's sake, the time is going to be shortened. All right, so what? Esau's coming down having this here great wrath. He got but a short time, and he's liable to go out there and kill every damn body, man. All right, but nevertheless, because why? He don't want to lose that damn sword, man. All right, because he know if he lose that sword, it's all over for him, Especially one of the big things that he fears, he feared that Jacob's going to wind up doing to him, to Esau feared that Jake's going to do to Esau what Esau did to Jake, and which we ain't going to do to you what you did to us, man. All right, the scriptures say we're going to do double unto your ass, man. All right, but nevertheless, in the carnal, and then that's all in the kingdom of heaven, when we get into the kingdom of heaven and everything like that, man. All right, but nevertheless, they're afraid of this on this here side, man. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you have to understand this is Esau's blessing, man. You're not going to beat Esau in his blessing. All right, you're not going to outgun Esau. He did number one gunslinger, man. That's his blessing, how he was going to live on this here earth, man. All right. Let me see. I want to pull. I think I'm good there. Nope. Let me grab one more. We're gonna close on this one. It was Revelation 13 and 10. It says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity." We understand again. That's dealing with Esau. He took us into captivity, and his ass going into captivity, right? It says, "He that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword." Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. All right. Hey, even in the carnal sense in the world. You had your boy Tupac say this, or Snoop Dogg, one of them guys said this, we live by the gun, we die by the gun, so you already know about this here phrase, man. All right, you live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword, man. All right, and who's the one people that was that was living by the sword, who got everything that they got via the sword, man? It would be Esau, man. He's the only person on the planet Earth that's got all his possessions, everything he got via the sword, man. Like Jake will turn, lemons into lemonade, man. Jake will turn something out of nothing. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these other countries, they'll wind up trading or using their insight, their their mind or whatever, whatnot, or whatever they got to do to wind up getting whatever resources they need. But when you're dealing with old boy, he just want to go around rape, robbing, and murdering and pillaging, man. He just want to take by the force of the sword, man. And this is how he wound up moving on this here earth, man. So just to finish back off, it says, "He that killed with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints." Oh, so like I didn't even read the whole thing. Verse 10, it says, "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints." So again, going into that, that's the end all be all. He understands he has but a short time. All right, and he also knows that, hey, he lived by the sword this whole time. He knows he's gonna wind up falling by the sword, man. All right, his military might, his military arms, his military weapons, but ultimately that's how he's gonna wind up being subdued. That's how he's gonna be coming up out of power, man. All right, it's gonna be a fast fall, man. It's not gonna be a slow and graceful fall. No, it's gonna be a hard, abrupt fall, man. But nevertheless, this is when you see these Edomites stirring up about this situation, man, you gotta kind of think, man. They, whether they know it or not, man, they got their livelihood, their way of putting food on the table, more or less to say, how people say, again, like I made the example earlier, how do you make your living? How do you pay your bills? How do you put food on your table? Do you go to work and break up rocks, build houses or whatever, whatnot? That's the way you wind up living. All right, I make a living by building houses. I make a living by being a fisherman or something, whatever, whatnot. Playing golf or something, right? How is homeboy gonna wind up making his living as a global living, by the force of the sword, man? But as we read here, let me read it again, Revelation 13 and 10. "He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, and he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints." We also know that, especially, really in all these times that Esau had been out, he been conquering these nations via military might, man. All right, and just invading that ass, man. But now, ultimately, in the midst of World War III, all right, all these things are going to happen to Esau in the same token, man. You got this conglomeration with Russia building up, all right? Then you also got NATO and the EU, which is the beast. All right, it's going to wind up hating the whore and burning her with fire, man. So as you see all these things starting to bubble up and boil over, also at the same time they're trying to push for Second Amendment rights to take away these damn guns from these Edomites and so on and so forth. These Edomites are also bugging out, man. Like I said, if you look into that January 20th situation and hear how they talking the rhetoric and whatever, whatnot about them losing their damn guns, like, damn, homie, it's not that serious, bro. Like, you got a whole fucking full arsenal in your house, like you real life Call of Duty or some shit like that. holding 36 guns, or Grand Theft Auto, dog. You got like 36 fucking guns on you. You know what I'm saying? You can't use them all at the same time. How the hell you got a minigun, a rocket launcher, a AK, a sniper rifle, bro? You can't carry all that shit around, bro. For real. You don't even need all that shit, man. But nevertheless, this is what old boy has, man. He has a little trophy room and whatever, whatnot. But that's his way of life, man. That's how he gonna wind up being able to prevail on this here planet, man. He's gonna do all that via the sword, man. All right. And as we come into the end all be all of these things, and he's being taken out of power, man, you start to see him catch a hissy fit over him losing his, his blessing, man, which is the sword. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for y'all. I can't push this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.